So welcome everyone to this workshops on GenAI for teachers. And myself, Brijut Angachan and Vinay Yadav will be also one of the instructor. So you'll be watching more videos from him as well. And so briefly about me, I served as Executive Director of EdTech Society and got my PhD in Instructional Technology from Ohio University. Also, I taught instructional design courses at IIT Bombay and Ohio University. Then also, I got a certification from PMI. It's a Project Management Institute. So about prompt engineering. Um, so some of the ideas that I'm sharing today, it's from this course. How we can use some of these techniques and frameworks in your own teaching and learning when you're talking to a machines like any AI tools that you are using. So we will learn some of the techniques and the frameworks so effectively communicate with a machine. So you will hear more about Vinay Yadav, and he has an MTech in Educational Technology from IIT Bombay and a mechanical engineering background. He has conducted workshops on Gen AI for school teachers. Um, so here is Vinay. And so the workshop, as you know, in the registration page, there are 2 days, this Thursday and August 27th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's a 5-hour workshops consisting of 2 hours pre-recorded videos. So this is also part of the pre-record. And there is a 3-hour online session, that is two 1.5-hour sessions. Okay. So you will engage in both in individual and group activities. And this workshop is offered by NPTEL Plus and co-certified by EdTech Society. So about NPTEL, I think most of you are familiar with NPTEL. And but if some of you don't know about NPTEL, please go through this website. It's one of the largest technical dissemination program. So you can learn more about NPTEL. And EdTech Society, it's a non-profit organization to help the educators how to use technology in a meaningful way. And we do have a flagship conference called Technology for Education. So those who are interested, please visit etsociety.org to learn more about EdTech Society. There are a lot of opportunities for teachers to participate in EdTech Society. So criterion requirements, like certification requirements for these workshops, there are two type of certificates. One is the participation certificate, and the other one is the completion certificate. In order to get a completion certificate, you need at least 80% of the total grade. And so you can see all these details here. This is also available in the registration page. So you can look at which areas that you can focus more. And one thing I want to mention, the post-reflective journal, it's the after 2 days after the workshops, that is the deadline. So 30% of the grade, it's based on that post-reflective journal. So basically in the pre-reflective journal, you will just tell us about what do you know, even if what you know about AI tools. And the post-reflective journal after the workshops, what are the conceptual understanding of the topics and its application in your own instruction and teaching? Then you will be writing about that one in the pre-reflective journal. So workshop expectations from you as this is not a traditional like a workshop, like you will turn on the video or join the workshops and then don't participate. But if you want to really get out of this workshop, make sure you have a laptop that in a quiet place so that you can actively participate in this workshop. So there are both individual and team activities. So you will be assigned into teams, and you will be asked to share your team's thoughts also in the session. So these are some of the topics that we are covered: fundamentals of AI and Gen AI, components of effective prompt, TLM and AI assistance, assessment, feedback tools, Then we will also look at some of the ethical principles when you use AI in your own teaching and learning. So the learning objectives, as you heard, some of the framework we will be using as part of this workshop is the RTCFC, RTF and CREATE framework. So today I will briefly talk about RTF and CREATE framework at the end of this video. So please make sure you watch that part as well. And yeah, it's same teaching learning materials, how to use, how to create feedback, all those things you will learn from this workshop. Okay. So in the pre-reflective journal, just asking about how familiar are you with this topic. Then there is a question on what's your current view of Gen AI in education? You can share your brief examples how you have interacted with AI in teaching and learning. Then this will be kind of the schedule on Thursday. So around 5:50 we will open the Zoom. So you can join and then you will just give some introduction. Then we will start with some expectation, what to expect from. Then there will be a quiz based on the pre-recorded videos that you watched. Then a team quiz, also the same questions that you will take. Then we'll have some clarification and mini lecture. Then we will have an application activity on how to use, the concepts in your own teaching and learning. Then team reporting, discussion, and finally Q&A and wrap up. So that is the overall schedule for on Thursday. Uh, so the individual MCQ, I told you, so after the pre-recorded watch, there is a quiz. So you will take an individual multiple choice questions. Then you will take a team, same in a Zoom breakout rooms, same 5 questions, but it's looking for more evidence and reasoning. Let's say, for example, if your team is selected A for a question, then you will be asked to explain what are the evidence, what are the reasonings, why did you select that B instead of A? So that is very, very important as a team answer. Okay. And so let's look into some of the main points here. Why Gen AI matters in education. Uh, so mainly it's because of the material creation and the productivity and efficiency. Earlier, it used to take more time to create, let's say, 10 multiple choice questions, 20 multiple choice questions. But now with AI as your teaching assistant, it's more intelligent. So think about AI as your teaching assistant. Okay. So it can create more efficiently and increase your productivity. And also, it's always good to have some checklist when to use AI as your teaching assistant. So components of an effective prompt, this is one of the second learning objectives. So before we jump into effective components of prompt, you might be asking what is a prompt? So prompts are your input into the Gen AI system to obtain specific result. So there is a term called garbage in, garbage out. Basically, whatever that you say to the output of it depends upon the input. See, for example, I'm just giving one example, very day-to-day example. Let's say you have an assistant. You are asking an assistant to make a tea. So if you just ask the assistant to make a tea, the assistant will go to the kitchen and make a tea. Uh, then you might say, "Oh, I was expecting the tea like with less sugar, and this, strong of the tea should be less strong." So, see, sometimes you need to say 3 or 4 times to make a perfect cup of tea, right? So it's like the prompt engineering. It's also kind of like that. So you have an idea for your assistant to do, but then you are including your human intellect, creativity, and the using the capabilities of artificial intelligence. So you will be sharing your human intellect and creativity, and it involves the meticulous crafting, testing, refining of prompts to guide GenAI models toward accurate, relevant, and useful output. Sometimes, the same example as your assistant, he's making tea. So first time he will make less sugar. Then other time the tea is very strong. Then the third time he made five cup of teas. Actually, you need only 2 cup of teas. So sometimes, you do it over and testing, and again, maybe three or fourth time, your assistant, it's very good. He will make a perfect tea for you when you give the command. So then he knows what is your preference, what is your taste, what sugar level. So the same way, you need to test different times, refining the prompt. Then once the prompt is very good, then you can just give the command. So that is the way it will work. So as I said, it's a iterative nature. Prompt engineering is an iterative. You will refine the prompt, you will test it, refine it, then finally you get the prompt. Okay, so when you give the prompt, it's always better to give a clear context, specify the grade level, define the subject area, state learning objective. Let's say if you are a teacher, you are telling the your assistant, teaching assistant as an AI, do this is the grade. Same thing with the tea also. You give the context. So you can tell you are making tea for 7-year-old. Okay, so what is the context? Okay, or who is the guest is coming? If it's a very important, very VIP, it's coming to your home, or a governor, or some important person, it's coming to your home. See, the way that you give the instruction will be different, right? So give the context and then precise instructions. So tell what you really want. Okay, what action? So you can tell that the like what is the complexity level? Who is the students? What all those more instructions, clear, precise instruction. You can say like the assistant. You are asking the assistant which type of a cup you should bring, or it's a steel cup or a glass, or any all those precise instructions that you can give. Then constraints and parameters, like if you are a teacher, you can say my students do speak only Hindi language. Also make sure when you create the questions, also include the questions in Hindi or in the local language. So that those are the constraints. So you need to tell, you need to finish, you need to create only 10 multiple choice question. This is the time that I have. All those constraints that you can add in when you tell to your teaching assistant. Okay, so now we are going to look into a framework called RTF. So R stands for role. Define who you want the AI to be. So you can say defining the role of the AI. You're a teaching assistant. So now you are saying your teaching assistant act as a fifth grade science teacher or act as a high school history teacher. So then you can give several role. You can say you have a 10 years of experience, and then take the role of a curriculum specialist, all those things that you can add over there. And then task, specify what you want, clear objective, decide outcomes and the deliverables. So you need to tell what you want. What is the task? You can say, I want a presentation, I want a multiple choice questions, 10 multiple choice question, or I need a rubric, or I need a lesson plan. So all those things, you tell what is the task that you want. Then format, how you want it. So you can tell, I want this lesson plan in a table format, or you can say I want it in a PDF format, or I want this one is an image, so then I can share in the WhatsApp group. So all those format also you can tell. So role, task, and the format. Okay, so if you communicate with this framework, your communication will be more structured. uh, Clearly define the role of the AI or the prompter, precisely state the task that the AI needs to accomplish, specify the desired format. So role, task, and the format. So you can look at that role. You are an experienced curriculum designer. Task created 60 minutes lesson plan for 8th grade students on the water cycle, include hands-on activities, visual aids, assessment strategies aligned with NSGS standards. So then format, which level, the objectives, lesson plan, differentiation, all those examples that you can give in the RTF format. Then let's say if the task is more complex, then you can use a format called CREATE framework. Character, clearly define the role of the instructor or the AI in the prompt. Then request, specify the task or objectives. It's similar to that what we heard earlier, character, request. Then A is for example. This is something that is not in the earlier one. Example, see, for example, let's say you have a NCRT exam question pattern. So you can tell them, I want the questions like this pattern. Or you have a rubrics. You can say, I want the rubrics in based on this example. So you give the examples, then tell the assistant to create the same way, like the same example as the T, making your telling the assistant, this is the example T that I want. So make the T like this. So that is the way that you give the examples. Then the adjustment and constraint, it's also similar, like what language you want, and how many pages you want, what is the font size, all those things that you can add there. Then types of output, specify the format. I think this is also same with the earlier, the role, task, and format. The types of output, specify the type of output you expected, like the JPEG or PDF, table, image, or a Google Docs. All those things you can specify. Then the evaluation and steps. This is something that was not in the earlier framework. So let's say you provided a book chapter. Let's say you can nowadays you can download NCRT textbook PDF. So then you download the PDF and upload that PDF into the system. Then you ask the ChatGPT or any AI assistant to create 10 multiple choice question. Then you can ask each question reference the page number that you took. So that is kind of the evaluation. So, it won't create its own idea. So we will discuss more about hallucination in the upcoming videos. In the class also, we will discuss. Sometimes, your assistant can make up stuff its own. So in order to avoid that, the evaluation and step, it's very, very important. Okay, so as you can see, this is the CREATE framework. Define the persona, articulate the task, provide relevant examples, specify the additional requirement, describe the desired format or structure, define the criteria for success. Okay, so before we meet on next live session, I'm giving you two assignments. Write a prompt using the RTF role, task, and format. So let's imagine you are teaching the history of Delhi. Create a lesson plan or anything, whatever that you think using the RTF format. Create that one so you can share when you come to the class and the live session. So another task, the second task is to write a prompt using CREATE framework. For let's say, imagine you are teaching the fractions. So in that one, character, role, and then examples. So provide some fraction examples. Then the constraints, you can say, give the local context. Let's say if the students are from farm area, you can think about how instead of let's say some rural students, they might not understand pizza or other items, but you can say give the rural examples like the roti or other things when you teach the fraction. So look into that. So how your teaching assistant it's creating. Okay, so I look forward to see you on the live session. So think about, look for the one more time, go through the the criteria for the completion certificate. You need to get at least 80%. There is a pre-reflective journal and the post-reflective journal. Complete that pre-reflective journal, and there is one quiz, MCQ1. So after watching the videos, complete that one. Then come to the class. So we will learn together. Looking forward to see you all. And so by the time, if you have any questions, you can contact me through my WhatsApp. Just let me know who you are, or you can connect me through the LinkedIn as well. Thank you very much. Looking forward to see you all in the live session.